Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable. Today's guest is Karine Hollander, President and CEO of Make-A-Wish Suffolk County. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And we just talked for about an hour off camera without even trying. It's just what you do and what Make-A-Wish does is just so amazing. I love hearing the stories. And I'm just very excited to kind of talk to you and see how we could help here and what we could do.
I'm so excited to be here and share so many beautiful stories with all of you. And of course, we talked for an hour. I can go hours and hours, with so many wonderful stories and wonderful wishes that we've granted over the years.
Well, you guys have done so many amazing things. And first, what I want to do is, this didn't come up today, but previous conversations, I've learned a little bit about you. And how did you get involved with Make-A-Wish? And how did that all come about? Because that's not always what you've done. And now it's kind of, this is what you dedicate your life to. And I want to hear how you got there.
So going back over 20 years ago, I'm actually a certified public accountant, and I was in the position of chief financial officer for a publicly traded company here in Hauppauge, and got to a point in my career where, when you're young in your 20s and 30s, you're looking to, build that resume more or less. And when I reached a point in my career that I felt like, I want to give back, and I got involved with Make-A-Wish because Make-A-Wish actually touched my family. I had two cousins who were granted wishes. And so I remember, when we got the call that my cousin Melissa was going to have a wish granted, my first thought was, oh my gosh, is she going to die? And I came to learn that Make-A-Wish does not, it's not about terminally ill children. It's about any child who is battling a life-threatening or a critical illness. And so I reached out to Make-A-Wish and thought, I don't know what I can do. I'm an accountant, but I'm sure I can help with something. And from there, got involved as a volunteer and started to, use my business contacts and gather support for the organization. And then I was asked to join the board of directors. And shortly, I guess it was a year or so in, I decided I'm gonna go out on a wish, because I felt, how could I serve on a board for an organization and not really touch the mission? And for that, for the first year, I just didn't think I was emotionally able to handle it. So I wanted to do anything but interact with the children, because it was too upsetting, I felt. So, but then when I became a board member, I said I really should do this and understand the process and how wishes get granted. And so I went out on my very first wish. And when I left the family's home, I sat in my car and I cried. But I cried and thought to myself, how could I not do this?
Yeah.
So from there, I was actually diagnosed myself with lupus. And at that point, I decided to really make some life changes. And I gave my resignation to the president of the company and decided I was going to take a year off to take care of my health. And I did do that. And in that year, I also resigned from the board. And in that year, I started, as I felt better, going into the office to volunteer and just helped with budgeting and the tax return and the financials, and got more involved in the organization. And the president and CEO at the time decided to leave, and he moved to Singapore and founded Make-A-Wish Singapore.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, the board came to me and said, we really would like for you to consider um, the position of president and CEO. And I was honestly like, I'm not looking for a job, but I, I, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think I can do this. So
And does it, I mean, it's amazing. And it's amazing that that I even hear that he moved on and go to Singapore. It just goes to show how much about the organization and how passionate people are. And I mean, you could see your passion immediately. Does it even feel like work? Does it?
it doesn't.
It doesn't, right?
It doesn't.
I mean,
And I'm the one who's blessed. People, when they hear that you're the president of Make-A-Wish, they're always thanking, thank you so much, or the families. And no. I'm the one who's blessed to be able to work with these children, the families, and all of the wonderful people that this magical mission attracts. I get to work with really great people, big hearts.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And we're going to get into some of the stories and some of the stuff you guys have done for people, because just hearing them is incredible. But I think you said something that's important to touch on. I think a common misconception about Make-A-Wish, and everyone knows Make-A-Wish, right? Everybody, you talk about charity and you think of Make-A-Wish, right? I mean, they've done so many incredible things, and they've, you think about Make-A-Wish and sending kids to Disney. And I mean, that's Make-A-Wish, right? But I think that the common misconception is the kids are terminally ill, right?
Yes.
They are, battling something greater, and it might not be that way. And tell me a little bit about how kids get involved and who can get involved and how people do get involved.
Thank goodness it's not that way, Rob, because leukemia has a really high survival rate. If it was that way, I don't know that I could do the job, honestly. So we are an organization that is about hope and joy. So it's, people will look at it and say, how can you do it? It's so sad. No. We are coming in and we are bringing the joy to these children. There's nothing more joyful, and we are giving them hope for their future. They're going to come through this. They're going to go through hell, but they are going to come through this if they keep fighting. And the wish is something for them to keep fighting for.
And something to look forward to, and something to think about.
Yes.
Rather than thinking about everything they're going through.
A beautiful distraction.
Yeah.
Beautiful distraction. We've had kids, and Delaney, for instance, she had her wish to go to Hawaii. It's not only about the wish itself. It's about the anticipation. The moment that a child knows they can make a wish, the mindset changes. They're not worrying as much about the chemotherapy, the tests they have to go through. They're thinking, what am I going to wish for? And, they're on their devices, like Delaney. She was in the hospital having chemo. She was on her iPad and calling us saying, I think when I go to Hawaii on my wish, I picked out the restaurants I want to eat at, and I looked at the menus. So it's a beautiful way to take them away from their illness and focus on something positive.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. And like we had talked about prior, and I'll bring it up again, is even for the family, having all the people come out and support and showing that the community gets behind you, because you guys are Make-A-Wish, but you're Make-A-Wish Suffolk County, right? So it's a very local organization. You're supporting the families and the kids that are here in our communities. And to know that, for the family to know and feel the love of the community and everyone supporting them, I mean, that's got to be really powerful for the families.
It has tremendous impact, for these families to see that people who may not even know them coming together to support and celebrate their children. It's a tremendous source of strength to know that they're not alone, that there is a community of people behind them that want to see their child get well and have, their most heartfelt wish granted. So we try to involve the community as much as we can when we have a wish that we can share in a special way, whether it's announcing that their wish is about to come true, whether it's presenting an actual wish in a way at a community event or at a child's school. We've done things like that so that other kids can see, because everybody has the ability to help grant a wish at the end of the day. We, wishes are creative, and they're only limited by a child's imagination. So we need people in all walks of life to help us grant these wishes. And it may not necessarily always be, a monetary donation, but, their time, their talent. If we have a child that wants their bedroom redecorated, we need help with that. If we're having a car refurbished, which we've done in the past for our teenage boys, that's usually a popular one. We need auto body shops. We need upholsterers.
So there's so many ways.
So many ways to contribute.
Now, you guys grant over 100 wishes a year, right? That's
on average over 100
which
a year,
which is amazing. So there's constantly things going on. There's constantly people helping, and like you said, people could help in so many different ways, and how do people help? That's kind of important to me. So like, let's say I'm somebody and maybe I don't have a ton of money to donate, but I just know I want to donate my time. I want to donate services. I just want to volunteer for something. Is there a place that people can go to get involved?
Yes, so they can go to our website at suffolk.wish.org.
Okay.
And there's information there and all the different ways that you can get involved. You can help us by becoming a wish granter. We have a very small staff, and the mission is delivered by teams of volunteers that go out and visit with the family and sit down with the child and help them to decide and discover what their one true wish is. So we need, help in delivering the mission.
So anybody out there that wants to help, phenomenal organization, definitely go there, check it out. So one of the things I know you're so passionate about, having spoken to you, is you grant over 100 wishes a year on average, right? But there's some that just kind of stick with you, pop out. I'm sure they're all so special, every single one in their own little way, and they all come in different shapes and sizes. But tell me some stories. Tell me about some of the wishes that stand out to you that you remember that just really impacted a lot of people.
Okay, so there's so many. I could be here for
I know,
hours.
I know.
Let's
talk about
some of the unique ones.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so we had let's see. There's so many great ones. Patrick comes to mind. So Patrick has hydrocephalus, and he woke up one morning. It was actually Christmas morning, and he was blind because his device malfunctioned. And Patrick loves horses. He rides over at Palamine, which is another great organization. And when we went to visit with him, he made a wish to meet Smarty Jones, his favorite racehorse.
That's funny.
And when I got the file and I was reviewing the wishes, I laughed out loud and said, he does realize that the horse isn't like Mr. Ed. He's not going to talk. And he wanted to meet the horse. And so ESPN actually picked up the story.
That's cool.
And ran it as part of the My Wish series on ESPN. And Chris Connolly came here, and we filmed with Patrick, and he was on horseback, and we all had a post around where he was riding, and we had to shout out the letter of our post, and he used our voices to guide the horse.
Oh my God.
And so that was a moment that it was just incredible.
That's
to
amazing.
See him blind on horseback and be able to ride. And
that's incredible.
So he actually went to Kentucky, and he was happy to just be beside this horse and pet him and touch him and hear him run.
It's incredible. It's incredible to think about. You have the opportunity to make any wish come true, right? And like the things that people or kids want, right? And like you don't even realize the small little things that can make someone so happy. And like that's just a cool story. That's a cool story. Takes his passion and just kind of turns it into a wish, and you guys are able to make it come true, which is incredible.
And the way he experienced it was, just to touch that horse and be in his presence.
That's cool. That's cool. Tell us more. I want to hear more. I just want to keep hearing stories.
So we had Joseph. This was another Joseph had loved birds, and when he went through treatment, he had to get rid of his birds, and so he made a wish to have a toucan, the Fruit Loop bird. And we did our research and actually made a contact at the Bronx Zoo, who told us there are only 3 breeders in the country for these birds. We found a breeder out in California, and we had to put a deposit down on the egg. And then when that bird hatched, we had to wait a certain, I forget how many weeks it was before the bird could be shipped, put on a plane to us. But in that time when the bird was about to be shipped, the breeder insisted, even though we were Make-A-Wish, insisted that the money had to be sent ahead of time before he would put the toucan on a flight to JFK. And I was nervous about that, but of course, he's the only guy with the bird. Yeah. So I had to do it and sent the money and waited and tried to contact him. And 3 days later, couldn't get him on the phone. 5 days later, couldn't get him on the phone. Now I'm panicking. About 7 days go by, he calls and he said, "I'm so sorry. I had to evacuate my home because of the fires.
Okay.
And I lost so many birds because of the poor air quality. But Rocco, Joe's bird, survived."
Wow.
And he said, "I'll have it on a flight tomorrow to JFK." So we sent Joseph with via limousine to pick up his baby, Rocco.
That's so funny.
And I said to the limousine company, "You need to make a stop before Joseph goes home. He needs to come to the Make-A-Wish office, and we all need to see the bird." And he's his best friend.
That's so
He knows
funny.
everything about this bird, how to care for it. And so, and we did that wish well over 10 years ago. And I'm walking in Smith Haven Mall, and this man comes up to me. And he says, "Karine?" And I looked, and he said, "It's Joe." And he had a beard, and he said, "The bird's doing great." And so
that's incredible. That's incredible. And that's got to be like the greatest feeling ever, just to have that moment. And for the kid, right, going through that whole process, it's not just the take a limo ride, get a bird, and bring it to the office and show everybody. That is probably weeks of anticipation, waiting for the bird to come. The anticipation of actually getting to the airport, being there with his whole family. It really is like getting a baby, right? Like he gets the bird delivered to him, and now he had the bird for years and years and years to always remember.
He was actually on Animal Planet with the bird.
See, that's so cool. That's so cool. And it's not even, people think, okay, I'm going to grant a wish, and it's so monetary, like it's like the money is the most important part, and it's really not at all. It takes money to do it, right? So we need people to donate money, and we need people because it takes money to do all these things, but there's such a level of care and creativity that goes into these wishes, and that's really where the power comes in.
Yes.
It's not anybody can go and buy a bird, right? But creating the experience of getting that bird is really where the true power is.
I always say the love is in the details.
Yeah.
Even if it's a Disney trip and we know that child's favorite soda is orange, orange soda is his favorite drink, we will go that extra step to say, can you have that orange soda in the,
Yeah, yeah,
all those touches.
yeah. It's amazing, and just to kind of take it a step further, I'm going to ask you to tell more stories because I love them, and I hope I'm sure everyone else will. But you were talking to me earlier about someone who is a teenager. He
Mm-hmm.
wants to get he's doesn't know really what his wish is, and you're kind of talking through the details, and you help him figure out what that is, and his eyes start to light up, right? And then you guys made it really powerful in the experience again, right? It's
Yes.
about how you deliver it.
Yes. So that was Connor.
Okay.
And Connor and I sat down for his visit, and I went over to his home, and he said to me, I said, do you have any idea what your wish is? And he said, well, I think I really would like to take a vacation with my family. And I said, okay, well, where would you like to go? He said, Hawaii. So I said, well, that's a great wish. And we started talking, and I said, want to learn a little bit more about him. And I said, so you're 17, and do you drive? Do you have your license? He says, I'm taking my road test in a couple of weeks. I said, oh, great. Do you have a car? He said, I do. I said, well, is it everything you want? Is it, you love the car? He's like, well, I'd like to, I wish it was a different color. And I said, that's a wish that we can grant. If you wanted to refurbish your car, restore your car, that's something that Make-A-Wish can do for you. And he said, you want to see it? And I knew at that moment I hit on what he was really going to go for. So he takes me outside. We look at the car. He's like, could you do rims and tires? And can you do a stereo? And I said, we can do all of that. So we go back inside, and I said, listen, I don't want you to rush. Take your time. Think about it. You can call me. Think about it. Sleep on it.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, he calls me on my cell, and he said, I want to do the car. That's going to be my wish. So I said, all right, well, we'll get going on that. So we took the car, and he was without it for weeks as it got painted, and we did all the work to the interior, all reupholstered, new seats. And I said to his mom, it's his senior year of high school. I would really love, and this was last year, I would really love to present this wish to him at homecoming day. So we did. We had him in the
That's so cool.
stands, and right before the game, the athletic director drove it out onto the track in front of the football field.
And you have everybody in town
And
standing
everybody's
around.
in the stands, and it was a moment for him to remember,
Yeah.
that he was through treatment, his first car, his senior year of high school. And so it's about creating those memories. And
Now, I'm assuming he's probably part of the process of the car and what he wants and color. Is that all a surprise?
so he was involved in the process of everything that
Yeah.
he wanted, but he didn't know. We told him the car wasn't going to be ready,
Okay.
and then surprised him
See,
earlier
that's so
with
cool.
it.
And again, it's about the experience, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
about all that time of thinking about other things, right? Thinking about the car, thinking about colors, thinking about like you create this entire experience for people to get their mind off of all the things that they're dealing with at that moment and kind of bring their mind somewhere else. And like, it's incredible. And then there's obviously a car is going to give back for longer than, the 5 minutes it took to give him the car.
Right.
Like he's just going to experience that and enjoy that forever. So, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, tell me about the process that you guys take to come up with these things. Is it truly the people like bringing you the ideas? How is the creativity kind of and the details? How does that all come together?
So, with that, those types of wishes are more involved. And that's why it's so important to create and build a network of supporters.
Yeah.
And this podcast is a great way for us to do that. Like I said, we need people in all different aspects of life, whether it's interior design to help a child, create their bedroom space. And we've got a lot of those requests as well. And I think with travel the way it is right now, we're getting more and more wishes that are more complicated to grant.
And more unique things that you probably
Yes.
haven't seen before because travel's so typical, if you will. Like now it's kind of how do you get more creative and how do you think of more things?
Yes, because the kids are really thinking out of the box. The little ones, they're going to hold out. They want to wait for Disney because that's,
Yeah.
But the older kids, they're thinking in terms of, what's my career path? We had a young boy who decided to use his wish to have an experience as an intern in the field that he was thinking about going into,
cool.
which was television. So we were able to get him an internship at NBC Studios.
That's cool.
So you helping us in this way, Rob, is tremendous because we're hoping to attract, what we need to keep this mission and this organization going forward and being in a position to say yes to every one of our kids that come.
This is such like a small thing, and I mean, I appreciate I could help in any way, shape, or form, but we plan on helping in a much bigger way. So like one of the things that I think would be great is, and we had talked about this, and I'm going to announce it now, is we want to have a regular ongoing show in this studio where we bring people in, families in, and we talk about all of the positive impacts that Make-A-Wish has had on a local level, because I think that could really help people's exposure. So
that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think it'd be so cool to have people come in here, tell their stories, talk about it, and get as much exposure as we can for everybody out there that's listening and watching to understand how they get involved, whether that be on the volunteer side or maybe it's somebody they know that needs the help, could really use a wish right now. And the more people that see it, the better. And I think that will be a perfect setting, and we'd absolutely love if you took us up on that offer.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Without a doubt.
Cool. I'm excited about that.
We just have so many stories. It's impossible to do it in one podcast.
Yeah, and I think it'd be great. We're excited about it. So, tell me more about what Make-A-Wish could use currently. Is there anything right now that you could say, you know what, Rob, do you know someone in X, Y, and Z?
Right now, I think one of our challenges that we could use help with is actually Spanish-speaking volunteers.
Okay.
So to help us, we have some families that we are challenged with communicating with. So if we had bilingual Spanish-speaking volunteers, that would be
okay
of help in getting some of these wishes going. And so right now we need that in terms of volunteer assistance, but we also need financial support, during this time of this COVID crisis. It's more important now than ever that we continue to raise funds, because we have children getting diagnosed every day. And we know that once travel opens, we are going to be flooded.
Yep.
And so we want to be in a position to be able to say yes to every child that comes to us. We're going to be able to grant your wish. Having that wish is a game changer. It changes from the moment they hear those words. It shifts the mindset. And we all know that our mind is as important as our body. So we need to be able, it's what, it's what gets them through
and it's
a lot of the dark days.
It's proven time and time again that it really plays a huge impact on everything.
Yeah. How well they respond to treatment, and just I'm going to tell you a a sad story now. We have a young girl who we were granting a wish for. Actually, she's end of life. They're they've tried everything. The chemo's failed time and time again, and there's not a lot of hope. She was having a shopping spree wish, something that we could do, even though she's in the hospital most of the time. She gets to come home maybe a day or two and go back. So every day we'd get a request, I'd like this pair of sneakers. I'd like to have this bicycle. And it was going on and on and on. And usually when we do a shopping spree, the experience is you go, you shop, it's done. But in this case, we just let it keep going for as long as she needed it to go, in dribs and drabs, because that was the thing that she was focusing on every single day. And the focus was to get a bicycle for her and her siblings so that they could ride together. And so 2 weeks ago, she was home from the hospital, and we delivered those bicycles. And we needed people to put the bicycles together. So, like I said, it takes a village.
Yeah, it does. And you don't even realize some of the things that are important, right? I would never, if I thought, okay, how could I help Make-A-Wish? I would never think, someone's bilingual and, that's a perfect place to start. Like, you would never even imagine that. And I'm going to make sure that we put that out to, everybody that we know and say, hey, if anybody's bilingual, you want to help out, you want to support, you want to do this, but there's a million other ways to get involved, like putting bicycles together.
Right.
Like, that doesn't take a lot. That doesn't take a lot of money. That just takes the willingness to want to help. And you can get involved in so many different capacities. Yeah. And I'd imagine that, you see a lot of the same familiar faces that kind of volunteer, and you kind of go back to the same well because people want to volunteer all the time. But, more people need to get involved. More people need to support, such a wonderful cause. So we're gonna make it our mission to make sure that people understand that you can get involved in any aspect, in any capacity, and any dollar amount for that matter.
That's right. If everybody did without one cup of coffee, one Starbucks, if everybody in Suffolk County did that, we would have enough to grant every wish. Yeah. It's those small dollar donations are what have sustained our Suffolk County chapter for all of these years.
That's amazing.
So it's just a matter of making that commitment that, whatever it is, $50 at the holidays or $100 at the holidays, that you're going to help give hope to a child in our local community. That is what has kept us going. And
there's literally not any reason why anybody can't take out $5 and donate. And please, I encourage everybody to do so. What about on the larger level? Let's say I have some friends that don't, corporations can, whatever, they want to do something bigger. They want to do, could people grant wishes? Like
Absolutely.
So how does that work on the larger level?
We have some corporations that will just adopt a wish outright and say, what do you have going on? I want to grant that particular wish. So absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I think sets us apart, is when you give to Make-A-Wish, that your contribution is having an immediate impact. Even if it's right now that child can't go to Disney, by you giving, we're able to say, you are going to go to Disney. When things get better, we have the resources to send you, and you can make that wish.
And like some of the anticipation leading up to that is almost
everything.
Just as powerful as the experience.
Yes.
It's all part of the experience.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Personally, how has this impacted you? I mean, I can't imagine the feeling you get on a regular basis. Like, it's just incredible to be able to grant all these wishes and all these things. I mean, how fulfilling is that for you?
It's indescribable. It's really my life and the way that I I made this change. It wasn't a career move. It was a life change for me. And I couldn't imagine doing anything else but this. And I'm just a small piece of it, Rob. I'm just the connector of, children that need the hope of a wish to people who want to help. So it's been a privilege.
Well, you are incredible. I love sitting here having these conversations with you. Hearing you tell the stories are almost mesmerizing. Like, you could just feel the passion, you could feel the love, and it's incredible. So I know that you say people thank you all the time, but I'm going to say thank you, even if you don't want to hear it, because it really is truly, truly amazing. You seem like the most incredible person ever. So I can't wait to get involved.
We're looking forward to partnering with you, and I cannot thank you enough for giving us this platform to help us share the power of a wish. And when great people come together, so many wonderful things can happen.
Well, just like you say, I mean, I understand how you're saying, because it is truly our pleasure to help in any way that we possibly can. So please, anything we could ever do, anybody that we could ever introduce you to, we are always here to help. And anybody out there that wants to help, wants to get involved on a small level or a large level or anywhere in between, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. How do they get in touch with you? What is the best place? Let's say your website one more time.
The website is suffolk.wish.org, or you can dial 631-585-WISH.
Great.
It'll be the best thing you ever did.
I could hear it in your voice. You love it, and the passion is there, and I can't wait to at least try to have some small portion of that, because I want to help in any way that I could. So thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your stories. I am so looking forward to doing more, hearing more stories, having you guys here, having you part of this Culca interactive world, and help in any way that we possibly can. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.